You have that hollow feeling, like you're watching life through glass while everyone else follows a script you can't read. That persistent nostalgia, the sense that this place is not your home, is not weakness or pathology. It's memory. It's your spirit, the pneuma, reminding you it came from somewhere else and didn't belong here in the first place. Hear that as a fact. The ache in your chest is the signal of something real trying to get your attention. The reason you never learned what that signal means is simple and deliberate. Ancient records. Texts erased and hidden by authorities long ago, like the Gospel of Philip and other Gnostic writings, kept a different teaching from the one handed down to the masses. Those records were pulled from sight, not because they were fanciful, but because they contained a technique, a map out of the trap. That matters to you now, because what was taken was not just history or scripture. It was a practical escape route for people like you. The core of that lost teaching is blunt and actionable. You are not merely an animal with a soul to be saved by rules. You are a fragment of the monad, a spark of pure consciousness, trapped inside a body and an invented moral story designed to harvest your energy. Jesus, in the circle that survived the purge, gave 5 keys, real tools, to recognize your spark, refuse the creator of this prison, see the jailers for what they are, end the savior pattern that drains you, and finally command your return. This changes everything. Your doubts and fears are not proof of failure, they're the battlefield. Knowledge, not belief, is the weapon. This is urgent. Once you understand these keys, you become a target. The forces that feed on distraction and guilt will try to silence you. That pressure you already feel, doubt, sudden fatigue, arguments that come from nowhere, is the confirmation that the locks are being rattled. Stand ready. The first key is not a theory. It's the recognition of the spark inside your chest. Right now, the place to begin. You have felt the odd distance, watching life as if through glass, not because something is broken, but because your core remembers a different home. That sense is not a failure. It is a residue of origin. You are a fragment of the monad, a conscious spark that belongs beyond ordinary boundaries. This awareness sits like a monadic anchor inside your vessel, tugging gently toward reunion, recognizing that pull removes shame and points to a practical path, an unlearning of accepted stories and a recovery of sovereignty. The stories taught to you have been incomplete by design, shaped to anchor attention inside material concerns and to obscure your vital breath. Those narratives create interference, a web of beliefs that feed parasitic pressure on your inner light, convincing you protection comes from external systems. Once these claims are questioned, clarity arrives. Your vessel was never the whole story. Seeing the mechanics of interference gives a method. You can dismantle conditioned walls, recover vital breath, and begin reclaiming movement toward your source. First practical step is to detect parasitic pressure. Notice where force or fear narrows your attention and where unfamiliar fatigue arrives, because those are points of interference. Then form a frequency shield by redirecting your vital breath inward, briefly closing the circuit between your senses and the monadic anchor. This is not passive, it is an active attunement that strengthens sovereignty. Repeat short, focused sessions throughout the day to retrain attention and to reduce dependency on external validation that once powered the parasitic pressure. Understand that the monad is the source of pure consciousness, and that every fragment carries its pattern code. Your spirit remembers this blueprint, and thus experiences the friction of not belonging. That friction can be harnessed rather than feared. It signals where sovereignty has been compromised. By tracing the lineage of beliefs that secured control, you can untether the vessel from imposed loyalties and re-establish secure lines to the monadic anchor. This restoration is technical work. Clear signal, strengthen the anchor, and isolate parasitic pressure until movement towards reunion becomes inevitable. Practical daily practices change outcome. Start each morning with a short attunement. Close senses momentarily. Draw vital breath to the center of your vessel and confirm the monadic anchor's presence with a few precise pulses of attention. Set clear boundaries around where you allow external narratives to intersect your field. Those boundaries are frequency shields. In interactions, scan for parasitic pressure and withdraw attention from any source that drains rather than feeds alignment. Over weeks, these repetitive calibrations increase sovereignty and make reunion more accessible and stable. When fear tightens your chest and the search for protection pulls you outward, know those are signals rather than final verdicts. These sensations mark breaches where interference attaches and where parasitic pressure gains leverage. The practical secret is to treat those moments as diagnostics. Breathe the vital breath inward, reinforce the frequency shield, and apply a quick anchor reset to reconnect to your monadic pattern. Repeatable resets turn reactive cycles into controlled responses, trimming away layers of conditioned dependence and restoring a steady, sovereign presence inside the vessel. The roadmap is simple, yet urgent. Notice interference, build and test your frequency shield, tend the monadic anchor daily, and refuse the narratives that trade your sovereignty for temporary comforts. Each corrective act accumulates like a protocol update inside your vessel, aligning systems to the monad's frequency and diminishing parasitic pressure. Do not wait for permission from outside structures. The authority you seek is accessible now through these disciplined calibrations. Move steadily, prioritize the vital breath, and the return to your source becomes not a hope, but an unfolding certainty. You have been taught to look outward for certainty, to clutch systems of belief that promise safety, while leaving your inner compass dim. In truth, those close lessons preserved by early Gnostic circles pointed to an inner route back to your monadic anchor, a center beyond ordinary perception. When fear tightens and parasitic pressure crowds the vessel, the first practical act is to notice your vital breath and its cadence, because that rhythm is the simplest door into sovereignty and the returning pulse of knowledge. Gnosis is not doctrine, but direct knowing, an inner calibration that bypasses rote belief and connects you to the monadic anchor that orders your existence. The practice is technical and repeatable. Learn to steady vital breath, trace the contours of thought without feeding parasitic pressure, and build a frequency shield that resists the interference imposed by external authorities. These are not metaphors but tools. The steadying of the vessel, the reattunement of pulse, the disciplined return of sight inward until the hidden keys respond. Institutions that benefit from predictable belief work to suppress these techniques because conscious return to the monadic anchor undermines their claim on attention and obedience. Suppression operates by replacing precise instruction with broad ritual, by elevating intermediaries, and by framing curiosity as distrust. You feel that interference as a thinning of sovereignty, a parasitic pressure that shadows every honest attempt to find inner proof. Learn to test teachings against the steady metric inside your vessel. If a teaching fractures your inner compass, set it aside. Begin with a routine that makes the technique practical. For a few minutes each session, lengthen the vital breath deliberately, counting its span and allowing the vessel to settle. Name plainly the sensations that arise to remove their authority. Imagine the monadic anchor as a steady center in your chest or head, and return attention there whenever parasitic pressure distracts. Close by, forming a frequency shield, a practiced boundary that rejects intrusive commands and preserves sovereignty. Repeat these steps until the mechanics become reliable. Hidden keys appear in simple markers: a sudden clarity, a loosening of parasitic pressure, or a stabilizing pulse when vital breath aligns. Track these markers like a technician logs readings. Note which names, phrases, or movements clear interference and which increase it. Symbols are not mystical ornaments, but functional signals that point toward the monadic anchor. With repeated testing, You learn to decode which practices expand your sovereignty and which practices feed other agendas, turning mystery into usable instruction within the vessel. Fear of being judged, or the thought that this is reserved for an elite, is part of the conditioning designed to keep the vessel compliant. The knowledge unveils responsibility rather than privilege. When the monadic anchor opens, sovereignty grows, and every action carries weight. Approach the exercises with rigor and accountability, testing outcomes rather than relying on promises. The keys are not rare artifacts, but capacities buried by interference. Patient repetition and fidelity to the practice restore access and turn hidden power into everyday competence. When these methods are applied consistently, the habitual framing of reality begins to unwind, and the monadic anchor becomes the primary reference for decisions and perception. That unwinding is practical. Parasitic pressure eases, interference drops, and choices align with sovereignty rather than imposed scripts. Remain vigilant. Maintain the frequency shield. Honor vital breath, and continue to test any new teaching against the anchor inside your vessel. The work is precise, sometimes slow, and utterly necessary if the intention is to live from informed power rather than borrowed certainty. You carry a double presence within your life: an alma, a formed soul shaped by the demiurge, and a pneuma, a raw spark from the monad that feels exiled and restless. You know this as a sense of not belonging, a constant pull towards something beyond the constructed world. Recognizing these two layers explains why protection seems necessary and why fear can feel so persistent. The path ahead asks that you learn to tell the crafted patterns of the alma apart from the urgings of the pneuma. Alma is a vessel built from the demiurge's architecture. It organizes memory, habit, and identity to survive inside a world of interference. The demiurge constructs rules and roles to contain experience, and those shapes feel safe because they are predictable. Your alma offers familiar answers, but it also carries parasitic pressure, expectations that cling and reroute your desires into repetition. To move beyond repetitive survival, you must map how the alma negotiates life, seeing where its needs end and where your pneuma begins to stir. Pneuma functions as a monadic anchor within you. It is not a habit-forming pattern, but a living urgency that remembers source. When the pneuma makes itself known, you sense a frequency that resists containment and calls you towards sovereignty. That call may sound like unrest, a refusal of familiar comforts, or a sudden clarity cutting through parasitic pressure. Practically, give that signal room. Learn the rhythms of vital breath that align with the pneuma, and let your vessel loosen protocols that keep the spark confined. Begin by noticing specific moments when protection feels demanded: rigid rituals, clinging beliefs, or compulsive planning. Those are cues from the alma seeking safety under demiurgic laws. Instead of fighting them directly, redesign the response system of the vessel. Introduce small acts that acknowledge the pneuma's needs: shifting a posture, altering a pattern, holding a silent monadic anchor for longer periods. These adjustments weaken parasitic pressure gradually and create a frequency shield that protects the pneuma, while the alma learns a new operational logic. Balance is not neutralization. It is an ordered sovereignty where the monadic anchor guides choices without erasing experience. You will still have practical needs and relationships shaped by the alma, but the pneuma reframes purpose and priority. When making decisions, ask which option preserves the monadic anchor and which serves only the demiurge's convenience. Reinforce choices that increase the pneuma's influence through repeated acts, consistent alignment of vital breath, steady maintenance of the frequency shield, and refusal to default into parasitic patterns. Expect resistance from structures that benefit from a captive alma. Interference will rise as the spark reorganizes identity. That interference can show up as doubt, isolation, or intensified fear, attempting to reassert demiurgic order. Meet it with the practical secret. Preserve your monadic anchor by simple rite, sustained alignment of vital breath, naming the pneuma's hunger within your vessel, and tightening the frequency shield when pressure increases. Each repetition trains your vessel to favor the monadic signal over the demiurge's convenient narratives. Finally, claim the transformation as practical sovereignty rather than mystical escape. Your identity will shift from being only an alma seeking salvation to a living pneuma exercising choice inside and beyond form. That does not remove responsibility or consequence. It reorients them around a monadic anchor, so decisions carry deeper integrity. Daily practice of vital breath, attentive shielding, and refusal to surrender to parasitic pressure become habits that embed the pneuma. Over time, the demiurge's structures loosen, and the lived reality aligns more closely with true origin. You feel the tightness of fear and the urgent search for protection, as if life presses you from every side. Understand that a cosmic mistake, the demiurge, crafted this frame and remains blind to the monadic truth at its heart. It spun a world of limitation and pain, sealing it with rules and demands for praise. Those demands present themselves as sacred paths, yet they are instruments of control. Recognizing that the creator of this matrix is itself wounded changes how you care for your soul. You notice the steady stream of moral demands coming from institutions and doctrines that claim absolute truth. Those doctrines are built to reinforce a hierarchy and to install parasitic pressure within your vessel, converting curiosity into obedience. Labels of sin and virtue become shackles, and sacred stories become channels of interference that keep attention away from the monadic anchor. When you obey without question, energy is harvested by the blind craftsman. Freedom begins when you see how rituals and commandments function as control mechanisms rather than portals to truth. Inside you sits a simple seed, the monad, the true spark that remembers source. The monadic anchor is not an idea but a felt center, moments when the rush falls away and a clear silence surfaces. Notice the vital breath that passes through those instants and regard it as a signal, not just a sensation. Gradually withdraw attention from outer commandments and let that anchor register. Each time the monadic anchor registers, strengthen it by raising a frequency shield around your attention so interference loses its grip. The blind craftsman survives on devotion and the offering of your attention, steering you into cycles of return and pain. When rituals become automatic, they feed the cycle of reincarnation and bind the vessel to patterns. To disengage, start by refusing automatic offerings, question rituals, test moral rules against the monadic anchor, and stop giving allegiance to images that demand worship. Redirect the gifts of attention and vital breath inward toward your monad. Each redirected moment weakens parasitic pressure and reinforces personal sovereignty within the web of existence. Establish practical routines that are direct and measurable. Each morning, spend minutes tracking the vital breath until the monadic anchor registers as a calm point inside the vessel. When confronted with doctrinal commands or moral pressure, pause and let the frequency shield engage. Do not answer from reflex. Offer attention inward rather than outward, and observe whether obedience arises from fear or from choice. Over time, the shield becomes habitual, reducing interference and allowing decisions to flow from the monad rather than from imposed narratives. As sovereignty grows, so do the responsibilities of presence. Reclaiming sovereignty is not escaping the world, but choosing how to act within it, guided by the monadic anchor rather than by borrowed mandates. The vessel starts to resist parasitic pressure and to reorganize priorities around what sustains the vital breath and honors inner truth. Actions taken from that center are precise and less wasteful of attention. The result is not indifference, but a measured engagement that lowers suffering and shortens the cycles of enforced return. Understand that revealing the demiurge is the first practical step toward reclaiming your sovereignty. Revelation without practice leaves you vulnerable. Commit to daily acts that strengthen the monadic anchor, track how attention is offered, and dismantle rituals that feed parasitic pressure. Build a reliable frequency shield and treat the vital breath as the compass for every choice. As the illusion thins, clarity increases and choices become sovereign. Hold to that practice. Sovereignty is reclaimed moment by moment through disciplined attention and steady refusal to worship what confines you. You have felt the pull of material cravings, the uneasy weight that acts like parasitic pressure on your chest when seeking certainty. There is a clear map to explain that pull. Humanity divides into 3 types, each with a different relationship to the vital breath and the monadic anchor. Knowing which one you are is not meant to label you, but to provide a practical compass. Your life is shaped by that classification, and recognizing it opens access to strategies that secure a frequency shield and sovereign action. Hylics are focused on the visible world, driven by sensory hunger and accumulation, often unaware of the monadic anchor. You may have relatives or colleagues who react to loss with frantic safeguards, seeking protection in possessions, because parasitic pressure convinces them scarcity equals survival. Their choices create dense fields that interfere with your subtle clarity. When you encounter them, maintain a frequency shield rather than engaging their frantic pull. Practical action is to set boundaries around exchange and energy, refusing to feed the cycles that strengthen their grip. Psychicos seek the inner, drawn to ritual and belief, yet often become vessels for external doctrine that imposes guilt and moral cycles. You may see people who confess their doubts, only to be told to obey rules that drain their vital breath, trading true liberation for comfort in familiar narratives. With them, compassion is a tool, not submission. Offer clear questions that expose contradictions and help them test teachings against inner resonance. Encourage strengthening of the monadic anchor so discernment can replace second-hand certainty, preserving sovereignty of choice. Pneumaticos carry a spark that reaches beyond common attachments. You feel an inner tug toward truth and unbinding. This is not a claim of superiority but a charge of responsibility, to hold a clear monadic anchor and to act from sovereignty rather than impulse. Strengthening the vital breath through disciplined attention, ritual that purifies, and measured withdrawal from parasitic pressure builds resilience. Use a frequency shield to test teachings and relationships. Service to others becomes strategic, offering tools for liberation without imposing beliefs, preserving each vessel's autonomy. The practical secret is a sequence you can apply daily. First, identify whether you act like a hylic, a psychico, or a pneumatico in moments of stress. Second, build a frequency shield by directing the vital breath and refusing to participate in reactive exchange. Third, strengthen the monadic anchor through regular return to silence and disciplined ritual. Fourth, refuse parasitic pressure by setting firm boundaries and selective presence. Finally, test every teaching by inner resonance. If it fails to enliven the monadic anchor, discard it. When fear, or the search for protection, tightens into parasitic pressure, the response is technical and immediate, rather than moral. Notice the interference pattern: racing thoughts, compulsive seeking, or surrender to others' rules. Direct the vital breath into the chest and solar center, hold the monadic anchor, and establish a simple frequency shield through measured ritual and silence. Withdraw from noisy exchange until inner resonance returns. Use these moments as calibration points. Each recovery strengthens sovereignty and shortens the time parasitic pressure can remain lodged in the vessel. Purpose becomes visible when power and discernment converge. Act where liberation is possible. Withdraw where the field is closed. Build alliances with those whose monadic anchors show integrity, forming practical networks that exchange tools, not doctrines. Teach through demonstration of sovereignty and measured ritual, and accept that many will not rise. That is not failure, but proper allocation of effort. Maintain urgency without panic. Steady application of these steps produces momentum toward ascension, reshaping how you move through daily life and how the vital breath animates each choice. You have felt that pull before. Sudden dread, looping worries that seem to come from nowhere and sap your vital breath. Those are not accidents but engineered currents. Archons, agents of a demiurgical order, tune into your vessel and amplify parasitic pressure to harvest a yield called lush. Recognizing this begins with simple observation of the pattern, how fear arrives precisely when decision is needed, how mood drops during contact with certain sources. Learn to see those injections as foreign interference, not flaws in your sovereignty. An injection by an archontic mind looks like a sudden directive that feels both urgent and trivial, a looping whisper that amplifies doubt or comparison. It mimics your voice, but lacks the deeper pulse of your monadic anchor. When such impulses appear, practice a clear triage, pause, label the tone as pressure, and trace whether it tightens your vessel or loosens it. If the impulse increases parasitic pressure, it is external. Respond by drawing in a steady vital breath and reinforcing a frequency shield around intent and attention. Begin each day by checking the state of your vessel and confirming the monadic anchor is engaged, a simple inward assessment of presence and intention. Scan for pins of cold dread, tightness, or sudden clouding. Those are signals of interference. Turn attention to sources that frequently deliver injections, conversations, news feeds, spaces of high complaint, and set firm limits. A practiced reset involves 3 deep vital breaths, a soft vocalization to assert sovereignty, and the tightening of a frequency shield that distinguishes personal energy from external leaching. Archons sustain lush by engineering low-frequency climates, cycles of regret, rage replay, and chronic uncertainty that convert attention into harvestable charge. They use predictable contours, delay, doubt, and spectacle to lock a vessel into reduced output. Your escape begins with the deliberate allocation of attention toward nourishing currents, instead of feeding the loom of doubt. Small acts of steady intent interrupt the harvest. Consistent choices, clear boundary enforcement, and reclaiming even minor pleasures realign your output with the monadic anchor, shrinking the archonte's ability to siphon energy. When an intrusive narrative tightens around a decision, perform a simple externalization ritual. Name the injection aloud, "This is interference," and watch how the energy shifts. Move to change the vessel's rhythm. A short walk, a grounding gesture, or a focused exchange with a trusted monadic ally disrupts the pattern. Reinforce with a frequency shield, anchored by 3 deliberate vital breaths and a concise affirmation of sovereignty. These actions don't plead with the archons. They recalibrate internal resonance so the parasitic pressure loses purchase and falls away. Restoration of vital charge is an accumulative science, not a single dramatic event. Repeatedly choosing practices that deepen the monadic anchor rebuilds the internal reservoir, reclaiming energy previously diverted to lush. Engage in consistent practices, timed breath cycles, deliberate presence in nourishing environments, and rituals that mark intention. Share repair work with trusted monadic allies who mirror steadiness rather than feed drama. Over weeks, the vessel's baseline rises, sovereignty becomes reflexive, and the frequency shield holds more firmly, allowing access to aspects of the true spiritual being. Escaping the energy farm requires persistent vigilance and skillful stewardship of your attention. Signs of progress are tangible: fewer intrusive loops, clearer decisions, less reactive speech, and an increasing capacity to generate warm, creative output rather than drain. Maintain strict boundaries around habitual energy drains and audit commitments that tug at the vessel. When facing coordinated pressure, rely on established frequency shields and the monadic anchor. They function like a technical protocol that reroutes siphons. Keep moving forward. Sovereignty, once practiced, multiplies and dissolves the archontic infrastructure around you. You live with a low hum of anxiety and a constant search for protection, and that weariness is the first sign that your vessel has been compromised by old patterns. Listen now to a practical map. 5 keys to open and claim what is already alive within you. Each key is an intentional action, a shift of vital breath that demands steadfast focus. These are not abstract doctrines. They are steps to illuminate your pneuma, reduce parasitic pressure, and begin reclaiming undeniable sovereignty in everyday life. The first key asks you to recognize your own light without bargaining with doubt. Naming the light, feeling its warmth in the chest, and tracing it through the spine anchors a monadic presence that resists outer claims. This recognition is practical. Set a moment each day to breathe toward that point, feel vital breath circulate, and affirm your alignment. As that recognition grows, a frequency shield forms around your vessel, making it harder for parasitic pressure to latch onto habitual doubt and collapse your clarity. The second key is a firm refusal to accept the demiurge's assigned authority over your plans and perceptions. The demiurge is the false architect that insists on controlling outcomes and measuring worth. Rejecting its control is not violence, it is re-establishing inner jurisdiction. Consciously remove consent from its narratives. Stop replying to its demands. Reroute attention inward, and let vital breath settle decisions in the pneuma. Each small refusal strengthens sovereignty, reconfigures the vessel's habitual pathways, and redirects energy away from external imposition toward true monadic guidance. The third key trains your capacity to discern archontic interference, those voices and impulses that masquerade as help but thin your energy. Archontic tactics include urgency, guilt, repetitive loops, and promises that cost your inner light. Develop a method. Pause. Place attention on the center of the chest. Feel whether energy contracts or expands, and consult the monadic anchor before agreeing to action. A steady frequency shield makes such interference transparent. Once recognized, those patterns lose power, and parasitic pressure slips away from habitual entry points. The fourth key instructs releasing the burden of being a savior, a role that binds your pneuma to other cycles and feeds archontic leverage. Compelled rescuing becomes a habit that saps vitality and deepens parasitic pressure on your vessel. Release means clear boundaries infused with compassion, support without taking ownership of outcomes, breathe vital breath to refill depleted edges, and let each being meet consequences to learn. When stepping back, maintain a frequency shield that protects your sovereignty while still honoring connection without carrying another's chains. The fifth key is a decisive declaration. Claim your exit and direct the pneuma homeward toward the monadic anchor. This is not a fanciful escape, but a technical reorientation. Speak the intention clearly. Visualize the path opening above and within, and feel cords loosening as vital breath seals passage. Each earlier key primes this movement. Recognition, refusal, discernment, and release prepare the way. Once declared, hold steady in the monadic frequency. The pleroma's resonant field will respond, reshaping perception and reorganizing energy around newfound sovereignty. As you apply these 5 keys, the pneuma activates and slowly rewrites habitual perception, making what once felt heavy begin to clear. Expect smaller things first, fewer compulsive pulls, calmer choices, and a clearer sense of personal borders within the world. Energy that was scattered by archontic tactics reunites in the vessel, and parasitic pressure diminishes. Each day of practice solidifies sovereignty and expands access to the pleroma. Keep attention to the monadic anchor and the frequency shield. Steady, practical application completes the passage to real freedom. You stand at the beginning of a precise activation, not a theory but a living process that rewires your vessel. The 5 keys are practical tools, each keyed to a facet of your vital breath and monadic anchor. Expect resistance from the archontes, subtle doubts, small distractions, sudden attachments that feel justified. Recognize these as parasitic pressure and name them quickly. Your clarity comes from naming and holding steady. Your sovereignty grows when each interruption is met with measured breath, and a refusal to trade depth for ease. The first key adjusts your attention into alignment. You shift from scattered thought into directed aim toward the monadic anchor. The second builds a frequency shield, a simple technical stance that rejects interference and preserves your vital breath. The third dissolves hidden attachments by tracing them to their origin and withdrawing consent. The fourth repairs the vessel by reintegrating splintered parts with deliberate breath and presence. The fifth seals intent into action, translating clarity into habitual sovereignty so that your daily choices reflect the deeper current. Resistance from the Archons rarely arrives as a roar. It comes as tiny tests designed to unbalance you. A sudden program of fear, a whisper about safety, a distraction that promises relief, these are engineered to coax you back into dependence. When these arise, mark them as interference, do not bargain. Engage the vital breath to steady the vessel, tighten the frequency shield, and withdraw consent from any thought that steals your attention. Persist through these trials. Perseverance is the calibrated tool that breaks parasitic pressure. As the 5 keys take hold, you will notice shifts in energy that are unmistakable. Moments of sharp clarity, a steadying of intention, and increased synchronicities that align events with purpose. These are measurable signals that the monadic anchor is tightening its grip on daily life. Do not mistake these for comfort. They are practical indicators. Reinforce them by maintaining the frequency shield during choice moments, tending the vessel with the vital breath, and refusing old compromises. Over time, these changes compound into reliable sovereignty. Practical work is simple and repeatable. Each morning, set the monadic anchor with deliberate, vital breath. List the day's intent, and imagine the frequency shield closing around choices that matter. Throughout the day, run quick checks. Pause, breathe, test for parasitic pressure, and withdraw consent from anything that reduces power. Make micro-commitments that prove intent. Small, repeated actions are the scaffolding of sovereignty. When doubt appears, return to these habits. Determination functions like a technical protocol. It executes the hidden code that keeps the vessel aligned. Fear will surface because protection is being recalibrated, and Archons respond to any enrollment in sovereignty. When attacks intensify, treat them as confirmation of progress rather than failure. Your vessel requires clear rules. Name the interference, increase the frequency shield, and anchor deeper into the monadic current with measured breath. Purposeful repetition builds a durable shield. Each time a test is met without collapsing into old responses, parasitic pressure loses leverage. This is how protection becomes internal and automatic, not borrowed or brittle. This journey back to the monad is a steady, accountable return home, where purpose and peace await as practical outcomes, not fantasies. The secret is technical and simple. Apply the 5 keys consistently, meet the Archons with named refusal, and let the vital breath operate as a reset button. As sovereignty matures, choices become clearer, synchronicities multiply, and the vessel moves with less friction. Persist with measured discipline. The reward is a lived alignment where protection, clarity, and meaning are inseparable. You now stand at the threshold of profound empowerment, equipped with 3 indispensable tools: your knowledge, your intention, and your commitment. These revelations are yours to wield. Your sovereignty is reinstated, and the interference that once sought to dominate your energy can no longer lay claim to it. Embrace this newfound strength, for the tools are in your hands. Subscribing to the Unwritten Word ensures you continue to receive these suppressed records. Here we do not interpret the Word. Here we expose what was hidden. This is the Unwritten Word. Your journey of discovery does not end here. It continues to unfold immediately. A related record is available now for continued observation. Proceed.